Hello, my name's Maria Schmitz, and today I'd like to tell you a story about the Mexican fisherman. An American businessman was at the pier of a small coastal Mexican village when a small boat with just one fisherman docked. Inside the small boat were several large yellowfin tuna. The American complimented the Mexican on the quality of his fish and asked how long it took him to catch them. The Mexican replied, "Only a little while." The American then asked, why didn't he stay out longer and catch more fish? The Mexican said he had enough to support his family's immediate needs. The American then asked, "But what do you do with the rest of your time?" The Mexican fisherman said, "I sleep late, fish a little, play with my children, take siesta with my wife, Maria, stroll into the village each evening where I sip wine and play guitar with my amigos. I have a full and busy life, senor." The American scoffed, "I am a Harvard MBA and could help you. You should spend more time fishing and with the proceeds buy a bigger boat. With the proceeds from the bigger boat, you could buy several boats. Eventually, you would have a fleet of fishing boats. Instead of selling your catch to a middleman, you would sell directly to the processor, eventually opening your own cannery. You would control the product, processing and distribution. You would need to leave the small coastal fishing village and move to Mexico City, then LA, and eventually NYC, where you will run your expanding enterprise." The Mexican fisherman asked, "But senor, how long will this all take?" To which the American replied, 15 to 20 years. "But what then, senor?" The American laughed and said, "That's the best part. When the time is right, you would announce an IPO and sell your company stock to the public and become very rich. You would make millions." "Millions, senor? Then what?" The American said, "Then you would retire, move to a small coastal fishing village where you would sleep late, fish a little, play with your kids, take siesta with your wife, stroll to the village in the evenings where you could sip wine and play your guitar with your amigos." We have Hall to thank for the concepts of time, space, and context. In the video, where it pays to be indirect, I dealt with context. The story of the Mexican fisherman looks at Edward Hall's concept of time. The question in this story is therefore whether we work to live or live to work. Which brings us to clock time and event time people. If you look at Richard Lewis's triangle, you will see that Hispanics, like the Mexican fisherman, is at the left upper corner, while the American is at the left bottom corner next to Germany, Switzerland, and Luxembourg, for example. There is also a key in the middle of the triangle to help you locate these diametrically opposed types. Okay, so we can't compare a fisherman to a Harvard MBA because these two characters have an entirely different mindset, which is obvious here. The book SQ, Spiritual Intelligence, considers the fisherman to be more spiritually intelligent. But if we look at CQ, Cultural Intelligence, instead, there is a whole lot to be said about the behavior of the Harvard MBA in the story. The story points out, among other things, the American high need to achieve. An American proverb goes, "It is better to wear out than to rust out." The Germans also have this proverb in their language, "Wer rastet, der rostet." So now take another look at the proximity of Germany and the USA on the triangle. It looks as if some people really live to work. But who's talking? Now to those at the upper left-hand corner of the triangle. The multi-active Mexican lives more by what is called event time. He is a so-called polychronic person in the language of Edward Hall, which corresponds to Lewis's multi-active personality. While those at the bottom left of the triangle are the clock time people or the monochronic people in Hall's terms, and the linear active people in the language of Lewis. Where did you hear this name Lewis before? Well, you should have, if you happen to have seen my video entitled "What is a CBH?"